Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, a little maritime incident.
Muna tayong makialam. Do not allow a little maritime accident or intentional gusto agad.
That's how President Rodrigo Duterte called the sinking of a Filipino boat in the West Philippine Sea.
Huwag kayong maniwala dyan sa mga politiko na gusto papuntayin yung Navy.
The president insists we cannot go to war with China.
And we are not yet as ready. And we can never be ready in a nuclear war.
And that we should hear Beijing's side of the story.
The only thing that we can do is to wait and give the other party the right to be heard.
Also, should Health Secretary Duque quit his post amid ghost dialysis treatments in PhilHealth?
I didn't, because when we had the meeting with the president, meron na siyang marching order sa akin.
Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson joins us live. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. A lawmaker says we are left, quote, heartbroken after the president speaks up on the sinking of a Filipino boat in the West Philippine Sea involving China and calls it a little maritime incident. The president also said that we cannot go to war and Filipinos should wait for the outcome of the investigation and listen to China's side of the story. Filipino fishermen aboard FB Gem Ver insist that a Chinese vessel deliberately hit their boat and abandoned them at sea. So what else can the Philippines do to address this maritime issue? Is the government downplaying the incident or just being cautious? Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Senator, welcome to the show. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Pinky. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Sir, always a pleasure to have you. A week after the incident, the president finally breaks his silence and says that, quote, ang nangyari ay banggaan, that is a maritime incident. Do you agree?
Well, it is very disappointing, to say the least. Not much because of his insulting remark against those who are making comments, because malaking issue ito. But because yung very self-limiting yung kanyang course of action na kinoconsider, which is going to war with China, which is, really a suicidal course of action. But he forgot that we have a mutual defense treaty with the United States, and that's a clear option. Not because we are hoping that there will be a World War III. No? Two superpowers will never want to go to war with each other. But because our only hope is to make China feel that there's a balance of power in the West Philippine Sea. Si Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said as much, di ba? Very recently, sabi niya, the United States has an obligation, as much as the Philippines has the same obligation under the Mutual Defense Treaty, na any attack on a fishing vessel in the West Philippine Sea area, which is part of the Pacific Ocean.
Could trigger.
Ano yun? Not could trigger, but
it triggers the Mutual Defense Treaty,
yes,
the provision in the Mutual Defense Treaty.
That they should respond accordingly or act accordingly to at least come to the rescue, di ba? Yun.
Sir, so ang sinasabi niyo medyo self-limiting yung naging sagot ni Pangulo dito kasi all of a sudden it goes to we cannot go to war. We're talking about a nuclear war. However, ang problema ho kasi dito, sir, is well, a number of things. Kayo ho ba naniniwala na nagkaroon po ng collision? A collision is supposed to be, if we are, to look into the dictionary, dalawang forces na nagbanggaan. That's
yung
one.
collision is naka-stationary yung isa na binangga. Okay.
Was it a collision or was it an allision?
It's not up to us to say that or to conclude kasi wala naman tayo doon eh. Let the investigation decide whether it's a collision, it was a collision, or an allision. So, hintayin na lang natin investigation.
Does that mean, sir, pasensya na kayo, but does that mean that hindi kayo naniniwala dun sa sinabi ng fisherman because you're saying that's not up for us to decide, or let's hear the other side of the story? But
well,
our fishermen
there's credibility sa sinabi, but yung captain yung nagsalita, and of course the cook, di ba?
Kahapon yung cook,
so,
sir.
It carries weight. kasi sila yung personal account and it's a blessing that they survive. Kasi kung namatay, wala na magbibigay ng account, di ba? So it's not as if I don't believe the statements of the fishermen. Of course I do. But we haven't heard the story of the crew members of the vessel that rammed into the fishing vessel of the fishermen.
We don't even know who they are, sir.
Well, the Chinese government know who they are.
Because there's a different story there with Vice President Leni Robredo. I'm gonna get to that in a bit, sir. So, dalawa ho kasi. So, allision or collision. Sabi mo, to be fair, what you're saying is let's wait for their side of the story. Am I correct?
But that's just half of the story. Whether it's a collision or an allision, the fact that they were abandoned to die in the high seas, that's another criminal act.
In fact, that's where I was gonna go, sir, because that's the first thing I wanted to ask from you. Naniniwala ba kayong collision or allision ito? And number two was whether or not it was a collision or an allision, sir. 22 fishermen were left at sea.
Yeah.
Now, that violates provisions in the United Nations law, Convention on the Law of the Sea, sir. So, paano ho yun? How do you, put this into context? Na, tanggalin na natin for now si allision or collision.
That's why I said earlier, this is a test of both patience and respect. Di ba? Respect on the part of the Chinese government towards an ally, which is the Philippines, and patience on the part of our government. How long can we take the bullying of China hindi lang sa mga fishermen, pati sa the Filipinos themselves, di ba?
So, clearly to you, we are being bullied by China.
We're being bullied. Clear enough. That's clear enough.
And
Hindi lang naman ito yung incident, Pinky.
Opo, the fishermen in the past, sir, even media was not allowed to take some video. It was a GMA news team, sir, sinabi, without the permission of China. Sir, if we're being bullied, what should we do now?
Well, given the situation, talagang we're helpless because, we're just a small country, powerless, na wala naman talaga tayong laban sa China except to file diplomatic protest. And it's up to China to recognize or even act on our diplomatic protest, di ba? So sabi ko nga, the only weapon left in our arsenal is the Mutual Defense Treaty. Why? Because yung Amerika yung merong capability and they're under obligation do sa Mutual Defense Treaty to react accordingly.
So, when can that be used?
You can use that anytime.
What will jumpstart that? When can we actually use that provision in the Mutual Defense Treaty that America can come to our aid?
Well, we can ask them. Of course, we can
kailangan
request
sa
them.
atin ho ba manggaling?
Sa atin manggaling, siyempre. Kasi we should present to them the facts, na why they should react to our request na ma-invoke yung provisions sa Mutual Defense Treaty.
We're talking about the other side, Senator, also. I mean, there is, of course, that understanding that you would also like, or the President would like to hear the other side, China's side, on the story. But if we were to believe the spokesperson of the Chinese Foreign Ministry, he was saying that it's a little maritime accident. The President also saying, no, he said, rather, let me correct myself. This is an ordinary maritime traffic accident. Hence, on the other side, on the flip side, the President finally speaking and calling this a little maritime incident. Sir, does that mean that the President believes what the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson is saying, that it's an ordinary maritime traffic accident? Sir, ganun na lang ho ba yun?
Are you suggesting that the President is parroting the statement of the Chinese Ministry spokesperson?
I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that he said it's an ordinary maritime traffic accident, and the President
Not only the President, but some members of the Cabinet.
Incident also.
Yeah.
Oo.
Secretary Piñol, Secretary Cusi. So,
Yung ibang ang fisherman, sir, yung asawa ng isang fisherman, sumama pa yung loob kay Secretary Cusi dahil sa kanyang sinabi. So, sige, let's look at the side of China, sir. China saying, which I want to get your thoughts on this, that natamaan yung Filipino boat, they were besieged by 7 to 8 Filipino boats, hence kaya daw sila umalis.
Yeah.
Do you believe that, sir?
well, based on what we saw on the satellite feed, na nandyan sa inyo, it's hard to believe because sabi mo nga, the other vessels were 7 kilometers
Yeah, let's
away.
show that satellite image here. This is coming from the Facebook page of Jay Batumbakal. So ang sinasabi niya ho dito, sir, kasi kung pag-uusapan natin yung June 9 incident, there are a few, the triangle ones are fishing vessels, sinasabi po niya. And there are a few that magkakalapit, sir, no? And yung mga magkakalapit na yan, that should be about 3 to 4 nautical miles away, which he says is about 7 to 8 kilometers. So, that disputes, basically, he's saying that there were 7 to 8.
And considering the time of the day, di ba? It was midnight.
Midnight.
So visibility is very limited. So how could they be besieged by other fishing vessels belonging to the Filipinos kung hindi naman sila nakikita?
So
Because of
clearly.
very limited visibility at nighttime.
So, are they lying, sir? Ganun ho ba yun?
Clearly, they're lying. No? And it's even worse because the government itself, the Chinese government itself, is in a cover-up operation, di ba? Even deceiving an ally, that is the Philippines. They should really come clean. And now I heard that the Chinese envoy is being summoned to Malacanang. And they will have a face-to-face confrontation with Secretary Lorenzano, who is on top of the situation, being the Secretary of Defense. So alam niya talaga yung investigation conducted by the Philippine Navy. Of course, the FOIC, the flag officer in command of the Philippine Navy, has already spoken and made this conclusion that it was really an allision, tapos tinakbuhan, di ba?
So,
So klaro yun.
syempre, ang mas madaling way na intindihin yun, sir, is talagang hit and run. Kaya yun din
Yeah, hit and
ginagamit ng
run.
iba. Yun.
Yeah.
And to you, is it clear that it was a hit and run, sir?
Well,
Hindi
hit
pa
and
rin.
run ng vehicle, masama na. Pero pag fishing vessels, because when you're left to die in the high seas, and there are 22 of them, no, that's really a criminal act.
And with your tweet, sir, that there must be respect and patience coming from China, and of course also coming from the Philippines as, with this independent foreign policy, sir, are we getting the kind of respect from China, sir?
No, we're not. We're not. The way they reacted to this incident, I was hoping sana that China would investigate thoroughly, be fair in their investigation, and then present the members of the crew and show us that they're capable of taking punitive action against the erring. Then that could easily mollify not only the fishermen, not only the Philippine government, but us Filipinos, di ba?
Are you hoping that could still be a possibility, sir? Mangyari pa yon?
Well, we're hoping na mangyari yun, but they have already spoken. Of course, they issued a statement, they took it down, and then they issued another statement. That in itself, the act of being very tentative, di ba? Ibig sabihin, hindi totoo yung sinasabi.
We'll be taking
Kasi papalit ng script.
We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. Well, but I think that should have been the conclusion, as you mentioned, sir. They investigated, hinarap yung tama naman, sir.
Yeah, sabi mo nga, I'd rather believe the Filipino fishermen because very spontaneous naman yung kanilang responses, di ba? Yung kanilang mga statements. Mahirap naman i-script mo yung 22 fishermen. Siguradong kung kasinungalingaw script yung sinasabi nila, may mga discrepancies sa mga sinasabi. But when you listen to them, their one is saying, doon sa description nila, pare-pareho talaga yung sa nangyari, di ba?
Alan, Tristan, yung sinabi lang ni Senator ngayon. Sige. Oo, tama. Tama yun. Ano yung sinabi mo? Yung una? Nakalimutan ko na. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Senator Lacson. During the break, syempre mas casual ang nagiging conversation. Sir, being asked if you could repeat what you said during the break na syempre naniniwalaan mo yung mga Filipino fishermen.
Well, being an investigator all my life, di ba? When I investigate a person or a group of persons, I always look at the demeanor and the consistency of what they're saying. Kasi kung 22 yan, it's quite difficult na i-script mo lahat yan para isa lang ang sabihin. At mahalata mo sa statements, magkakaroon ng discrepancy. magkakaroon ng mga differences sa kanilang mga sinasabi. But in the case of the 22 fishermen, I noticed very spontaneous yung kanilang sinasabi. And pare-pareho naman from different perspectives of course. Kasi magkakaiba yung positions nila, relative positions.
Sir, pagpasok po ng sa 18th Congress, can the Senate look into this and do something about it, sir?
If there is a resolution filed and it's referred to the appropriate committee or committees, then a legislative inquiry is in order or proper.
How about Senator Ping, how do you call that again, yung when you all think and when you have a resolution you are condemning ano ba tawag
Resolution, sense of the Senate.
doon? Sense of the Senate, pwede
It
kaya
could
magkaroon
come.
din ng ganon?
Pwede magkaroon ng ganon. It depends on some senators or a senator filing a resolution.
Do you plan to do that, sir? I mean, ganito ho ba kayo ka-passionate about this?
Between now and July 22 is still, a long way to go.
Mahaba pa.
And pwede may mga developments na mangyari.
Such as
So let's
what
wait
you
for
said a while ago, sir, na posible.
Baka magkaroon ng chance of art yung China, yung Hong Kong demonstration is quite revealing, di ba? Going against a very powerful authoritarian, if I may say that, government. Tapos magke-cave in yung, well, of course, I cannot believe that the chief executive of Hong Kong would act without at least an imprimatur from the leadership in China. So nakita mo na meron din palang may vulnerability rin pala yung Chinese government because when they saw 1 million, 2 million, so
You're
that's
saying 2 million.
practically mga 1/5 of the whole population of Hong Kong.
1/3 nga daw yung 2
Okay,
million, sir.
1/3, yeah, 1/3. So and they reacted the way we saw how they reacted, di ba? So meron din pala hindi rin pala ganun ka-impregnable, di ba?
Sir, when we talk about the Chinese ambassador, ano ho kaya siguro dapat na nangyari dito? Should he have been invited much sooner? Should he have spoken to any officials of the Philippines? Because in the same way that many were waiting for the president to say something, and sabi mo nga, give him respect, he's probably still investigating and finding
Or
out
getting
more information
more
about
information,
He finally breaks his silence, sir. Is it taking too long to invite the Chinese ambassador, sir?
Well, I think so. Dapat noon pa lang, after hearing the fishermen, dapat sinumo na yung Chinese ambassador because and the DFA should have done that. But of course, the DFA acted accordingly by filing a diplomatic protest.
Sir, yung sinabi po ng Pangulo na it's a maritime accident and let's wait for the side of China, how do you think that affects, one, the morale of the fishermen, their families, and those who believe them?
Well, we already heard them, di ba? They're so disappointed. Narinig ko mga interviews ng mga fishermen, di ba? Umiiyak pa nga, sabi nila, parang tayong alipin ng China. And it was a very powerful video clip that I saw, di ba? As presented by Professor Batumbakal.
Let's show that. We have that ready, sir.
Para alipin po tayo ng China
Ganun po yung nararamdaman niyo.
na parang wala tayong karapatan sa sarili nating nasakupan.
I don't think he's acting.
You don't think he's acting?
Of course.
Ni-repeat ko lang kasi baka hindi ho kayo narinig. As a senator of the Philippines and you hear, sir, somebody saying para tayong alipin ng China, how does that affect someone like you?
Tumutusok di ba? Hindi ka ba tinatablan? Pag nakarinig ka ng ganon, and in all seriousness, in all sincerity, parang nilalabas na yung kanyang hinanakit, yung kanyang sentimiento. Tatamaan ka rin.
Senator, should they apologize? Should China apologize? Should the
It's
ambassador
up to them. We
apologize?
cannot demand apology from
Of course.
anybody. It's really up to them.
But would it be the right
Kaya nga
thing
sabi
to
ko,
do?
test of respect. If they regard us as an ally, as a friend, then they should show some respect because you always respect a friend. Well, kung tingin sa atin is ganon, we don't expect them to, to even issue an apology.
Kung hindi po sila mag-apologize, would that confirm na ganun, mababa po yung tingin nila sa atin?
Matagal lang ganon naman talaga trato sa atin, di ba?
Okay. Vice
And,
President...
we're not helping any. Di ba? Dapat, we should maintain our dignity, no, as a sovereign nation. But the way some of our leaders are reacting, mukhang we're encouraging them even to treat us the way they're treating us.
Such as who?
Well, you heard the statements of some cabinet, parang sila nagdi-defend pa doon sa China, di ba?
Okay. Sir, yung dignidad ho ba natin ay natatapakan na ng todo-todo? Ganun ho ba?
Well,
Our sovereignty.
mukhang ganon sa mga nangyayari. And this is one incident that we should really show that we still have that self-respect and that dignity. No?
What should government do, sir?
Well, pag-usapan natin kanina, no? Wala naman talaga tayong panlaban.
Yeah.
So meron man tayo. It's a blessing that we signed an agreement with the United
Yun na.
States. Ano? And why don't we use it? You know, the President should have explored all available resources. No? And there's one, sabi ko, there's one weapon in our arsenal that we can use. And that's the MDT.
Is there anything else, sir? Sabihin po natin sa IMO.
Payaman muna tayo. Pagka nasa G20 na tayo, pwede na siguro tayo. Kasi alam mo, maski sa bahay, di ba? Regardless of who is the eldest son or eldest sibling, kung sino may pera, yun may boses eh.
We'll be
That's a
taking...
fact of life eh.
Yeah.
Di ba? Maski bunso, yun ang kumikita sa pamilya, siya yung nakapag-desisyon eh.
But sir, I ask because there could be possible other options, the United Nations, the International Maritime Organization,
Yeah,
and
there are so many options.
Sir, even asking help from the international community. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, Secretary Lacson already filed or is thinking of filing a case before the International Maritime, di ba? Organization. So, may mga actions taken naman. Kaya lang, parang kulang at kulang pa rin because everybody was waiting for the President to speak out, no? And when he finally broke his silence, sabi ko nga,
You're
he left
heartbroken.
he left us, hindi lang ako, he left us heartbroken. So, medyo malungkot talaga.
We'll be taking another short break. We'll be right back. Meron kayang, could there be some sort of consensus among some of the other claimant countries? For example, now Vietnam, di ba? Kasi
No, ang nangyari kasi before, remember during the time of GMA, di ba meron tayong mutual agreement among Southeast Asian countries, but because of the NBNCTE, we abandoned them.
yeah.
Lalapitan ba, kung lapitan natin uli yung Vietnam, yung mga other claimant countries, na tinalikuran natin nung sumosolo na tayo because meron tayong
Pero malay mo.
yung tawag dito, yung joint exploration na sinamahan ng NBNCTE kaya nagkaloko-loko, di ba?
Yeah. And the diplomatic ties.
Ibig sabihin, our reputation of turning back on our allies
10 seconds.
has already preceded us.
No? You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today is Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson. Sir, Vice President Leni Robredo came out with a statement and said that basically China has to account for those who have been involved.
I agree.
And, sir, have them face our courts, as she was saying. We strongly urge the DFA to demand from the Chinese government to find those responsible and recognize Philippine jurisdictions so they can face trial before our courts. Justice for the 22.
Pinky, bababaan ko yung kaligayahan natin. Yung China taking punitive action against their own people, that's good enough for me. Because that's asking for the moon. No? Hindi nga nila, tinotolerate nga nila yung kanilang yung crew members ng vessel. Hihingi pa tayo na dalhin dito, extradite dito. That one, of course, we have an extradition treaty existing between China and the Philippines. Ano? But do you think China, based on their actions now, do you think they will even extradite their people to face the courts in the Philippines?
That's why earlier on, sir, sinabi mo, ipakita, to name, to show them to us, and to do some action, because of what happened. Suggestions on what is being called, sir, as downgrading the diplomatic ties with China. Is that an alternative for the Philippine government?
There are so many possible courses of action. Pero kung nilulunod naman natin yung dapat calibrated din, di ba? Na parang kung ano yung doable, doon na muna tayo. But like what Vice President, and I respect her for issuing that statement, pero that's asking too much. Parang hindi nga tayo mapagbigyan ng isang candy, hingi pa tayo ng isang buong
bag.
cake. Oh, di ba?
No, but still, sir, yun sa downgrading of diplomatic ties, you don't think that should even be considered as of now?
Well, sabi ko nga, lahat naman nasa realm of possibilities kung ano yung gusto nating... But it's up to the policymakers, the executive branch, to act on...
Would that be wise, you think? Would it be wise?
That could be a harsher action.
And you wouldn't go there right now?
Not yet. Not
Hindi
yet.
pa. Sir, I know you talked about this a while ago, but some are already always thinking about when the president speaks about China, palagi siyang may kakambal na, I'm not ready to go to war with China. To some, it becomes an excuse or even a convenient excuse, sir.
Ang sa akin is, if we're weak already, it's bad enough that we're weak. Don't advertise that we're weak. Di ba? Magtira ka naman ng konting
Dignidad.
card or konting baraha na wag kayong luluko-luko, meron kaming tinatago. Pero to advertise how weak we are, I think, it doesn't make sense to me.
But it's being said over and over again,
Kaya
sir.
nga,
Wala nang barahan
I
na,
already
diba?
called out the president.
I remember, sir.
Regarding this.
This issue.
Yeah, unlimited talaga i-advertise na wala tayong laban, titirisin lang tayo. Huwag mo na i-advertise, mahina ka na nga para bang kausap mo yung kapitbahay mong binubuli ka. Lalo mo pa sinasabing, surrender ako sa iyo.
Takot ako sa'yo. Oo.
Di ba tayo, like itong another analogy do sa MDT natin. Di ba pagka when I was a small boy, pag binubuli ako ng kapitbahay na malaki, ang takbo ko sa Big Brother. No? And di ba, for the longest time, the United States was our Big Brother.
Yeah.
Di ba? E nandiyan naman yung treaty, may basihan naman tayo. So why don't we use that?
All right. Senator, so I guess it's also important, are you awaiting what the Chinese ambassador would say sa kanilang pag-imbita kay Chinese ambassador?
I hope ma-enlighten ng konti. And yun, makakita tayo ng konting respect, at least through the Chinese ambassador.
Just very quickly, sir, sa PhilHealth, I wanted to discuss with that, ang dami pa, Senate leadership, that ano na ho yan?
Yeah, settled, yeah.
Settled na ho yan. Sir, sa PhilHealth yung nangyari, what should be done? We had Secretary Duque also yesterday on the show. Sabi nga daw niya, inisip daw niya mag-resign.
Well, he did not because, alam mo, tendering a courtesy resignation does not necessarily mean that you are admitting guilt, di ba? It's not an admission of guilt eh. Ang pag nag-tender ka ng courtesy resignation because all the members of your board, you being the chairman, pinag-courtesy resignation, it is an act of propriety, no? Moral ascendancy, responsibility, leadership to you yourself tender your own courtesy resignation. Now, it's up to the president to accept or not. And in all probability, the president wouldn't accept his courtesy resignation. But he failed the test of leadership. He failed the test of moral ascendancy. He failed the test of self-respect.
Is the Senate, the 18th Congress, are going to look? I know that you said that you're going to scrutinize the budget sa 18th Congress.
Yeah, kasi 150 billion pesos, nagsimula ito, di ba, 2004, 500 plus million pesos, pinag-procure ng PhilHealth cards, galing sa Medicare ng OWA funds.
This is still during the time of GMA. So,
Yeah, of course, sinasabi niya, dismiss na yung case, bakit ko pa nilabas? But of course, it's relevant because of what's happening to PhilHealth now, and there's so many anomalies. A case in point, I just discovered this last night. There's this hospital in Cebu. Parang unauthorized extension of confinement, 2 counts. So there's a complaint filed before the PhilHealth. By the way, PhilHealth is a quasi-judicial body, as a board, the board itself. So they can investigate, they can adjudicate, they can impose penalties. So they imposed the penalty, suspension, 3 months, and I think fine of 100,000 pesos. And this is appealable. Ang appeal nito sa Court of Appeals because parang ang level nila RTC. Kasi quasi-judicial
Okay.
And then the Court of Appeals upheld the decision of the board. What the owners of the hospital did was to go back to PhilHealth, and PhilHealth you know,
And to appeal again to the
no,
board?
it's already in the CA. The CA already upheld. The next thing to do is to go up to the
Supreme
higher court, the Supreme Court. But what the petitioners, and this I cannot understand for the life of me, na pumunta sila sa PhilHealth and the PhilHealth board reversed the Court of Appeals.
Reversed.
That's plain and simple grave abuse of authority because that's beyond their authority to reverse a higher court.
Okay. Sir, sorry, we've run out of time. What year was that? Kailan ho ito?
2019, January 20, 2019.
Ito lang, ito lang
And
January.
Secretary
2019.
Duque was one of those who signed
All right.
the resolution.
Sir, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you to Senator Ping Lacson. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.
Welcome to Siargao, named by Condé Nast Traveler 2018 as the best island in Asia. Siargao may be known as a world-class surfing destination, but there's so much more to the island.